Hey guys, it's Andre here, back from the East Village Times and the SDSU Football Podcast. It was a big victory for San Diego State against San Jose State on Saturday night by a score of 43-27. Obviously, the story of the game coming out of it was the Aztecs offense finally breaking through at home for 34 points, 4 touchdowns, and 2 field goals, in addition to Jordan Bird's kickoff return for a touchdown that really got the momentum and the flow and the 38 unanswered points going for San Diego State on their way to a big victory. But if you know me, you know I mostly love to talk about defense. And the story coming into the game was about defense, especially the defensive lines. 4 of the 5 defensive linemen on the preseason All-Mountain West team were in this game. 2 from San Diego State, Jonah Tavai and Keyshawn Banks, and 2 from San Jose State, Cade Hall, who was also the co-preseason defensive player with Patrick McMorris, and Viliama Fehoko for San Diego State. Now, coming into the week, Brady Hoke, both on Tuesday at his press conference and Wednesday night on the Brady Hoke show on AM 760, mentioned several times that he believed that San Jose State's defensive line was the best in the conference. Now, presumably because his team is in the conference, he was essentially saying that he thought San Jose State's defensive line was better than his defensive line. Now, Brady Hoke said post-game that not only did he say that in his press conference and media stuff, he also made sure that he and the coaching staff said that in team meetings throughout the week, because he knew that it would tick some guys off, both on his defensive line, because they thought they were a better defensive line, and his offensive line, who wanted to take the challenge of defeating and neutralizing the so-called best defensive line. So it was a very interesting coaching move, motivation tactic, and it worked, because not only did the offense and the offensive line particularly neutralize what San Jose State's defensive line was trying to do, especially with those 2 monsters on the edge, but the San Diego State defensive line had a big game, 5 sacks. Jonah Tavai had 3 himself. I believe Keyshawn Banks had 1, and Cooper McDonald off the edge also had 1. But what I want to show you is a subset of plays here, particularly Jonah Tavai's 3 sacks, because they all came on a very similar defensive call. If you guys will remember the Arizona game, I did a breakdown after that game showing the interception from Noah Tumblin that came off of a play where Jalen Maiden, current quarterback but safety back then, played the quarterback spy. And the look that they gave to the Arizona offensive line completely confused the offensive line, to the point where 2 or 3 offensive linemen ended up not blocking anybody, and they rushed 3 and were able to get Jaden DeLora to have to leave the pocket and throw a running one-legged pass short to his out receiver, which got picked off. Later against Utah, Jalen Maiden was also played quarterback spy, which led to Garrett Fountain sack on Cam Rising. So that play, the quarterback spy with Jalen Maiden had worked really well. Obviously, Jalen Maiden is not playing defense anymore, and we know why. But up until this game, I don't recall San Diego State going back to any kind of quarterback spy. But they did it in this game, and they did it with a true freshman, Eric Butler. Eric Butler played 5 snaps in this game, all as a quarterback spy. And it worked. It worked really well, as I'm about to show you, because it completely confused the San Jose State offensive line, not just the first time, but pretty much every time that Eric Butler was in there as a spy. So let's get to it. Here's the first play. As we know, San Jose State took the first 2 drives down and scored touchdowns. 5 for 5 on third downs. All of those third downs were third and shorts. They did not get into any kind of third and long situations, which is why it was so easy for them to convert all of those third downs. After the Jordan Bird kickoff return, San Jose State gets the ball. They're up 14-7, and then they've got a 3rd and 13. First third and long of the game. And as you can see, San Diego State has 4 guys at the line of scrimmage. You got Keyshawn Banks, you got Justice Tavai, you've got Jonah Tavai, the 3 defensive linemen. And then you've got this guy right here, a small guy. That is Eric Butler, who ends up playing the quarterback spiral on this play. Another thing to realize is that all 4, but really all 3 defensive linemen are standing up. They're not in a 3-point stance, don't have their hand in the dirt. And Justice Tavai, as you'll see as I run this play, kind of comes up in some sort of a blitzing thing. And what that does is Cordero calls an audible, looks to the sideline, and they call a different play. And so at this point, they've already kind of thinking, okay, what are they doing defensively? What do we need to do? They're already second guessing the play call. And so they get the new play call in. He audibles, lets everybody know. And still, you can see all 4 guys are standing up. And at the snap, right, these 3 rush, and Butler just stays in that spiral. You see they got 3 wide receivers on the right, 1 on the left, and San Diego State kind of drops back into kind of a cover 3 here. But Cordero has no chance because, as you can see here, not only does any of the linemen on the right side block Jonah, but the running back doesn't even come here because he expects the right tackle to cover. It's a complete breakdown by the offensive line, completely confused in my eyes on what San Diego State was doing on that play, because not only did the right guard or the right tackle block Jonah Tavai, but the running back just stood there and watched Jonah go by. Here's a better angle from this side. As you can see, the right guard and right tackle go towards Justice Tavai. So you almost have like 3 guys there not blocking anybody. And Cordero has no chance on that. Here's a play. This doesn't end up being a sack, but this is the next 3rd and long situation. After San Diego State has already scored 10 more points and taken the lead, San Jose State has a 3rd and 13. San Diego State ends up showing the same kind of look, right? They've got Keyshawn Banks, Jonah Tavai in the middle this time, and Garrett Fountain on the outside, and Eric Butler back as that quarterback spy. On this time, San Jose State doesn't mess around, and they just hand the ball off on 3rd and 13. Now, they almost picked up the first down. They get Kyrie Robinson got about 12 right before he went out of bounds. But I wanted to show you that just to kind of say, well, in that look, the San Jose State was able to run against that look on a 3rd and long, but didn't get the first down. So it was still a stop for San Diego State. Here's another 3rd and long. As you can see, San Diego State's up 31-14 now. As the onslaught for the Aztecs offense continued, San Jose State was stuck on 14 for a long period of time. And here is Jonah Tavai's 2nd sack. Once again, you've got 3 guys at the line. They're all standing up at this point, and then you've got Eric Butler again, who ends up playing this quarterback spiral. And at the snap, you're going to see here that Jonah Tavai just goes straight by the center with ease. I don't know if the center lost his footing or just whiffed or what, but he had no chance. And Tavai, the running back, doesn't get there in time, and Tavai takes him down. Now, initially, they didn't blow the whistle. Eric Butler ran in there and took him down, but they did credit Jonah Tavai with the sack, because if you'll see on this replay, Cordero's knee was down. But just look at Jonah Tavai, his move against the center. The running back has no chance, and Tavai gets a second sack on this same quarterback spy. Now we're looking at a play later in the fourth quarter. San Jose State is down 38-20. They have a first down here. Now, this is not a quarterback spy play, and it's not a sack, but this is the play Dallas Branch picked off Cordero down the right sideline. But what I want you to see here is Justice Tavai, which this is not a Jonah Tavai, this is a Justice Tavai play. You've got Keyshawn Banks up top, Jonah in the middle, Justice here, and then you've got Cooper McDonald, I believe, either Cooper or Caden McDonald. But look, I want you to see what Justice does to the right guard and how that impacts Cordero having that just to throw the ball up there. And that's why the ball gets intercepted. Just barrels through the right guard, and Cordero is forced to throw it with people at his feet, and Dallas Branch makes the interception, his second interception in as many games. He was the defensive player of the week last week. And then you've got some dancing going on here from some happy Aztec fans. The band is playing, Brian Ransom conducting. Everyone's happy right now, but you'll see the replay here. You'll see right here, Justice Tavai just barrel through the right guard, and force the interception throw, or the bad throw that gets intercepted. Just the defensive line made so many plays, whether they brought Cordero down or, led to bad throws, led to failed third down conversions. And then here is Tavai's third and final sack of the game, which ended up as a safety for the final score of 43-27. Once again, this came in a 3 linemen or 3 rushers with Eric Butler as the spy again. You see right now they've got, at this point, obviously you're up 14 with 48 seconds left. You're playing a prevent defense per se. But they still, they still confuse the offensive line enough to get, a safety. So you've got Cooper McDonald. Actually, no, Caden McDonald on the bottom, Cooper McDonald on top, and then Jonah Tavai in the middle. And then you got Eric Butler here. You'll see Jonah just barrel through. One thing to note, the right guard and the center are not on the same page at all. And they don't pick up Jonah Tavai. He runs through the running back and takes down Cordero for the sack. And look here, these two guys, the center and the right guard, are looking at each other, pointing, what happened? You're supposed to get him. No, you're supposed to get him. Let's rewind that. Just look at after the sack goes down, 74 and 71 are trying to figure out who's supposed to do what, and they both kind of just looked deflated on that play. Here's the angle from the end zone view. As you can see, the right guard just lets Tavai go, and they take him down. At some point, I think Caden McDonald ends up with the ball. The referees ruled him down. I don't even think they bothered to replay it or review it. And the Fox Sports guys didn't really try to show an angle. At that point, the game was over. But if it was in the middle of the game where the game was still in doubt, I wonder if they could have reviewed that or what. But they'll take the safety for San Diego State's first safety in, I believe, 9 years. So it was their 5th sack. A big game. Offense obviously was the the highlight of the evening with 4 touchdowns, 3 passing. But the defense, definitely the defensive line particularly, wanted to show their head coach that he was wrong, and in fact, they have the best defensive line in the conference. And Brady Hoke did say that in the post game, that he doesn't think that San Jose State is the best defensive line anymore, that his guys are. So a little bit of motivation, a little bit of gamesmanship by the head coach to fire up his own guys, and it worked. So, Jonah Tavai at this point, along with Fehoko, along with David Perales, and along with probably his teammate, Michael Shawcroft, is in that running for, Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year that Cameron Thomas won last year. And speaking of Cameron Thomas, Tavai, with his 3 sacks, he passed Cameron Thomas on the San Diego State all-time sacks leader board yesterday, and so now he is third. And obviously Kabir Gabaja Biamilo has 34, and he has the sack record. And Jonah Tavai, he's got 22 and a half, so unlikely that he will get to first. But I believe second place is Mike Douglas, who had 26. So with 2 games left and a bowl game, Tavai could potentially get to second on that list with, I believe, 4 sacks. So something, and he mentioned he didn't know in the post game. Tavai mentioned that he found out after the game that he passed Cam Thomas, and he said he wanted to get to second and first, but he didn't know what the totals were. So I do think he has got a chance to get to second with 3 really good games. So that's going to do it for me this time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown and how Kurt Maddox was able to bring back the quarterback spy with Eric Butler, a true freshman, to create a lot of confusion on that offensive line and a lot of openings for Jonah Tavai to get in there and get to the quarterback. And, after giving up 14 points on the first 2 drives of the game, San Diego State's defense really held firm. They gave up 2 touchdowns, obviously, in the second half, but the game was out of reach. San Jose State, after going 5 for 5 on third downs in the first 2 drives, they were only 1 of 7 the rest of the game. And a lot of that had to do with putting them into 3rd and longs and utilizing this scheme to get pressure on Cordero.